For us, Revival is not a brand, it's a culture. Then the word sustainable fashion is a word I don't like using that much because now it's been used as a marketing tool. A lot of brands are using that as a marketing tool for them to be seen as a sustainable brand, where by name but not by practice.
Sustainability means living a life with human beings and nature at the center of everything, and then knowing that your actions, any actions at all, this even outside fashion or anything, any actions you're taking has a ripple effect, maybe short term, long term, some way, somehow affecting humanity, so the consciousness of humanity in the center of every step that we are taking is sustainability for me.
For me, sustainability should be from the DNA of a brand, which is right from the idea section, from starting up the business to wherever it is currently. Sustainability should run through, which basically is having the earth, having your fellow species, and having the environment in mind.
When I go into the market, like that's Kantamanto, that's I think the biggest second-hand market in Africa, so those are like where I pick most of our things to redesign. So when we go there, we don't go in with a specific, like to have something specific in our minds that, okay, we're going to have like shirts, we're going to have like denims, we're going to have that. So we go in and we say that we want to go and take the things that has the highest tendency of getting into the gutters or ending up on the landfill.
We don't discriminate in terms of textile. We work with everything that we find because trying to segment or filter or pick things out has been part of the problem. You always filter things, you always have favorites over some favorites, and those that are less favorite ends up being taken to the charity shop, which potentially ends up here. So every piece that we find that we rescue from the landfill, it's a favorite to us, and we treat them the same way from a design and a rescue perspective.
So that's our mood board. Our mood board is not that specific. The mood board, I think, or I want to say that it is just the will to do something. And so that's what informs our design process. We've been doing this over a period, and we've been able to gather certain specific things, So we know over the period of time that there's usually denims, there's usually sports wear, those things that are not bought or are not necessarily wanted, or they're going to discard, like those market women are going to discard, are the things that we go for.
For us, Revival is not a brand, it's a culture that we're trying to instill. It's a movement that we're trying to make people join. And this movement is about being thoughtful about the planet, being thoughtful about the next person, being thoughtful about how things are done with the earth or nature in mind.
The design aspect, I would say, is like it's just like 20% of all the work, putting everything together. What we try to do with what we are doing is not just the clothes that we are designing. That the clothes that we are designing is just our skill, or it's just our tool to say what we want to say about the environment.
Like in fashion right now, one big error is that every designer or every fashion brand wants to just produce and make the numbers, make billions, make numbers, but not thinking about the fact that what happens after my consumer doesn't want to wear it anymore. What happened? And that is the big error, causing huge quantities of waste. And as you can see, obviously our beaches are proof of this era. Fast fashion brands are doing what we call greenwashing, and when I say greenwashing, I mean projecting their brands as a sustainable brand using marketing tools like advertising, influencers and stuff to make their brand look good. But behind the scenes, they are the pivot of the problem. They are literally the ones behind the huge quantities of waste circulating, in the world.
If we design a t-shirt, we redesign a t-shirt, when someone purchases or when someone wears that thing that we've redesigned, that person should know that he or she has contributed to something that is connected to our health as a people, as humans. It's not even as we the designers, as humans.
We collaborate with students from fashion schools, we collaborate with tailors from Kantamanto Market, we collaborate with designers or people, or we collaborate with consumers. People who, if you wear clothes, if you're into fashion, you are our target. We can work with you. Like we have a collection that we produce protective gear for farmers, and we collaborated with the farmers. You don't necessarily have to be a design expert, and I think that is how design collaboration in design should be literally collaborating with the people that are going to wear the clothes, so there is some sort of ownership. They feel belongingness and they feel it's a part of them, and this will prevent a lot of people from throwing something away. Because if I design a cloth, why will I throw away my intellectual or my creative property away? This is something that is a proof that I created. So if that strategy is inculcated in the design process, I think in the near future, if we practice this way, it will foster responsible consumption and really reduce waste.
Our projection for the revival is to see that people's lives are changing. People's attitude towards clothing is changing. The mentality, people don't just take what our musicians or our influencers, people we want to we idolize so much. We need to say that what they are telling us about clothing or about consumption is not entirely true. We need to have a say as consumers, and that's what we want to see people who are following the revival, the kind of the change we want to see in them. That's the kind of change we want to see in them.
The revival becomes a practical culture that everybody thinks about consumption. Consumption is responsible rather than just consuming because of influence from social media, influence from that somebody close to you and all of that. It's something that for us at the revival, we want people to know the truth behind what we call fashion. That it's taking the earth, the nature, into massive destruction. I would say we're in a state of emergency when it comes to the level of environmental degradation that fashion has caused. But it's also not too late for us to change, because nature is designed in a way that it heals itself. If we're able to stop wasteful consumption and rather have responsible consumption, we can restore nature the way it was centuries or decades ago. So what the revival really wants to see is for us to have a world with less minimal waste, or even to extent of having no waste. That will be the happiest day of our lives. We'll literally jubilate throughout and have that feeling that mission has been accomplished. So yes, that's basically what the revival wants to see, to practice and to feel.